While this retrograde motion of Saturn is for a very short period of time, roughly about 5 months, however, those houses that Saturn rules, and specifically those houses that Saturn aspect, they will surely be under its focus, under its attention, and under its retrograde motion. Saturn is going retrograde in a couple of weeks from now, roughly about 17th of June, and it will remain in its retrograde motion till the first week, or roughly about by the 4th of November, in its Moon Trikona sign of Aquarius. Now, this is a very important placement for Saturn because it's in its Moon Trikona sign, so a number of times it is more supportive, more protective of its house and the house it rules. However, Saturn's retrograde motion or a retrograde Saturn is a different thing. A planet usually gives rogue results when it gets retrograde, which means unexpected results which you didn't expect, which you didn't think, which you didn't aspire for, which you didn't desire. So let's jump in and see how retrograde motion of Saturn, which is seemingly as it's going slightly back in its own sign in Aquarius, how that will turn out for different rising sign ascendants. Now for Aries ascendant natives, Saturn rules the 10th house and the 11th house, and it has gone retrograde in the 11th house, which means the maximum impact of its retrograde motion will be felt in the 11th house, the house of societal network, friends, working in large organizations, working for large causes, aspiring for large roles, aspiring for large growth, and also trying to get or elicit the support of or the contribution of or being able to work together with masses, extended society as well. So this is an area which will be under focus, under attention, and also under the retrograde effect of Saturn the most. So Aries ascendant natives will find that there is a chance, not always, but there is a chance of having a fallout with one friend, maybe even a close friend. So watch out that you don't get into some misunderstandings with a close friend or an acquaintance or in a partnership, because that could be affected by being misled in that. Why being misled specifically in a partnership? Because Saturn's third aspect is on the Lagna of Aries on Jupiter and Rahu. Rahu is an energy of misleading, and the aspect of Jupiter is on the 7th house where Ketu is placed. So Ketu negates the results of the house that it gets placed in and of the sign. So here Saturn's aspect on the Lagna, on Jupiter and Rahu, and in turn Ketu being placed in the sign of relationships, partnerships, which means your partnerships, your relationships, your acquaintances, your ability to connect with people, your ability to work closer with people, more connected to work, may be affected because Saturn rules the 10th and the 11th house. So for Aries ascendant natives, it is good to be a little careful during these next 5 months, because the retrograde effect will be most felt in your extended connection, in your societal connection, in your friend circle. So be careful there. If you are somebody who is very young, who are friends, and you are going out with people, you are socializing, maybe in the group of 19 to 20 to 30 years, then you may possibly have a misunderstanding with somebody of the opposite gender even. It's possible. So if you are close friends, and if you may say something, you may do something which may be misconstrued, and that may affect in turn your reputation also. So be careful during these 5-6 months. Nothing very serious is going to happen, but why get into even small slight misunderstanding if you can avoid that. So for Aries ascendant natives, as long as you're able to take care of these, that's one area. Second area is where your career is concerned, where your work arena is concerned, because Saturn also rules your 10th house. So there could be some misunderstanding with a boss, with a superior at work. Some of your projects could also be stalled. They may not move forward as much or to the degree that you want. Those projects which you are expecting may come not to you or be given to somebody else or come with delayed time period. You may be expecting the results coming sooner, they may come later. Growth potential, especially now, just appraisals have just finished for a number of us. So when the appraisals are being announced, the growth to some of you may be not be given as promised. The increments will not come as promised. So be a little careful. Don't lose your cool. Bid your time. For those organizations who have a midterm appraisal in November, when Saturn turns direct, you may accrue the fruits of your labor then. And when Saturn goes direct in the first week of November, it is going to coincide with the transit of Rahu and Ketu. So there will be a lot of exciting times after November or from the first week of November. We will do another video when the time comes. But till such time, hold your horses, don't get into some trouble. Then you will be safer than sorry. Now for Taurus ascendant natives, Saturn rules both your 9th house and your 10th house and is going retrograde in a couple of weeks, roughly by mid-June in the 10th house itself. However, it is its Mool Trikona sign, its most important sign, its most favorite sign, strongest sign. However, a retrograde planet, especially a Saturn which is retrograde, usually gives you rogue results or unexpected results. Those results which you don't expect, those results which are not acceptable to you, may also come back, or out of the blue something happens and then you need to go and take care of that or try to extinguish fires which have been lit not by you, by somebody else. So that's the result Saturn may give you while it is going retrograde in your 10th house, in your career, in your karma house. So this means for the next 5 months at least, from June until the first week of November, be a little careful of how you take decisions in your workplace, what projects you enlist for, what projects you sign up for, what responsibilities you take up. Because what may happen if you take up more than you can chew, which is a possibility you may do during this period, then you may find that something or the other keeps coming up and doesn't allow you to complete any of the project if you're taking more than what you can handle. Assuming everything will go smoothly, things will not go smoothly. Murphy's law will be in motion when Saturn goes retrograde, which means anything that can go wrong connected to work or career may go wrong. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but it can be. So, for Taurus ascendant natives, my advice would be a little careful in terms of what you sign up for, what you promise. And if you need, take more time to deliver on projects, because most often than not, because Saturn is also the Karaka of your work, your career, your karma, things may go wrong or go south or be delayed or be held up, not because of you, but for somebody else's, they have a challenge because of which you may not be able to finish your project work. So giving excuses that it is somebody else's responsibility may not be good enough. So better be safe than sorry. So don't take up more responsibilities and take more time if need be. Second, it's very important that you be on the right side of the supervisors and authority figures at work. Don't try to argue with them. Don't try to, get into those interactions with them which may not be fruitful to you in the long run. Because something which you say also, but which seems to be countering their viewpoints, may not be seen positively, though you may mean good. So, in the long run, this will not be very fruitful for you. Your relationship with your superiors at work, higher management may get spoiled, and that will be a challenge for you, because Saturn will remain in your 10th house until March of 2025 at least. So why for that long a period spoil your relations or your interaction with superiors? So be a little careful there. The other thing is Saturn's third aspect on your 12th house on Jupiter and Rahu, and their aspect falling on your 6th house in the sign of Libra. So here you may find that connected to work, because the 6th house is also related to service. Ketu is placed there. Some of the hard work that you're putting in and Saturn going retrograde at the same time may not come as good. You may find this more happening with people who are working with foreign consultants, foreign clients, foreign companies, multinational corporations, and also for those people who are working in health services or working in projects where they need to work alone more than working in a team. Also connected to armed forces or the constabulary or the police. So if your career is in any way connected to these, and in general for those people who have a service mindset of working for others, you will find that this period may take slightly more time and your relationships may not hit out as good. They may not be able to be as productive as you want. So be a little careful during this time, with your time, work hard, be patient, persevere during this time, because when November comes, when Saturn goes direct and Rahu and Ketu's transit also happens at the same time, that will be the beginning of a different and more exciting period for you. Now for Gemini ascendant natives, Saturn rules the 8th house as well as the 9th house, and it is going retrograde in the 9th house itself. Now Saturn, because it's in smooth Trikona sign of Aquarius in the 9th house, so it will be slightly more protective. However, Saturn's general nature of being protective, ensuring stability, ensuring structure, goes haywire when it goes retrograde. So for the next 5 months, starting mid-June when it will be going retrograde, till the first week of November when it goes direct, till for these 5 months you may find that those plans that you have, that work that you have, those expectations that you want, those results that you want to come forth, specifically connected to the 8th house and the 9th house, may not come as strongly for you, or you may struggle a bit to get those results. Firstly, Saturn going retrograde in the 9th house itself, which means gains may be held up for some time, especially gains connected to your education or your certification or your higher learning. Or if you're expecting, if some of you have just finished some certifications, some of you have just finished some higher degrees, have enrolled in some foreign universities or any higher learning institute or place of higher learning, or just acquired those certifications, and you're expecting, now that I have this certification, now that I have this admission, something good will be going for me, then you will find that immediately nothing will move. At least for the next 3-4 months, nothing will move, or to move it even a little bit, you will have to struggle, you will have to really put in effort. So a lot of times, your first attempt in enrolling for a certification, enrolling for a higher learning, enrolling to go to foreign universities may not come by. For those people who are planning a long distance travel, give presentations or to sign up deals, you may find that you will struggle. Those plans may not go smoothly. The travel itself may not go smoothly. And you'll also find that you may have to redo a lot of work, or maybe revisit the place, or follow up with those people before results will come. The second thing is Saturn also rules your 8th house, and the 8th house is also the house of suddenness. Suddenly something's happening. So you may also find that suddenly some fires, especially connected to those things which were hidden so far, which you didn't know, those may show up immediately or without warning. So matters of inheritance, matters of health, matters of niggling health which you were kind of putting off for some time, suddenly they may flare up and they may ask for your attention. So you will have to take care of your health, or those fires which have suddenly come up, or niggling issues which have suddenly flared up into something which is more chronic. Other thing is Saturn aspect, the third aspect is on Jupiter and Rahu in the 11th house of friends, social network. So you may find that suddenly something which you were not aware of suddenly comes up, flares up, some issue with friend, or friends suddenly coming up with some unhappiness that they have with you, misunderstanding that they have with you, and that may seek your time, your attention, and you will have to extinguish some fires there. So be a little careful, especially for young people who are in the age group, say 19 to 20 till about 30. If you are in the relationship, or you're trying to become friends with somebody, or aspiring to get in the good books of somebody in the extended friend circle, be a little careful how you approach them, how you showcase your desire, your attention toward them, because that can be misconstrued, that can be misread. You may also, for some of you, meet new acquaintances, new friends, new connections on travel, or connected to work also. So you may not take, it may not be quick that you hit off with them. It will take some time. So be patient during this time. Be ready if something untoward, suddenly something's come up. Don't lose your patience, and try and work on those areas which you have not focused on so far, especially connected to work, or especially connected to your health, take care of them, because those can be something which can catch the attention of Saturn starting from mid-June. So you still have time. If you have not submitted your tax returns, some of you have not finished or replied to the notices of the government, some of you are not taking care of inheritance issues, please address them, because those could be the spoiler than anything else. Now for Cancer ascendant natives, Saturn rules your 7th house and the 8th house, and Saturn is going retrograde in the 8th house itself. However, Saturn Murtikona sign is Aquarius, so Saturn usually is protective, and Saturn is also the Karaka of the Dusthanas, especially the 8th house and the 12th house. So Saturn usually is protective when it is in the 8th house in the Dusthana and in its own sign. However, a retrograde going Saturn, which Saturn is going to go retrograde from mid of June, somewhere around and midnight of 16th or morning of 17th when it's going retrograde, and it will remain retrograde in the first week of November. So during these 5 months, you will find, especially connected to the 8th house, where you have shared resources, shared responsibilities, shared inheritance possibilities, you will find that suddenly results get stagnated for those areas. So if you are thinking that you will submit your tax returns, or you will complete the notices of tax, or complete your insurance, or claim insurance, or sign up for some of those, then those will take some time, or your claims of insurance may not come by easily to you. So be little careful. Don't get into a situation that you have to claim insurance. For example, if you are driving a car, and be careful when you are driving, because even a small dash here and there which may require you to claim insurance, because 8th house is also the house of suddenness and sudden, even untoward incidents happening. So the incidents may not be very serious. Some of you may, it's a possibility that there may be some dashes, there may be some bumps. You may have to claim insurance for something, even for health concerns. You go through some sudden health emergencies and you have to claim insurance for that. So though it's not life-threatening, but the money has to be claimed if you have an insurance. So when you apply for those will take time to come by. They may not be accepted also. So be very careful for the next 5 months. Don't get into situations of health emergencies, or be very adventurous where you have a fall or something, or drive not being more careful during this time. Not that you will drive differently, but when the time is not so right, and if you're not extra careful, you will get into this situation. So that is one area. The other area is about your career. Saturn's third aspect is on Jupiter and Rahu in the 10th house. Rahu is a spoil sport wherever it plays, especially misleading you. So many times the expectation that you have from your career output, or the projects which are being given to you, you may find the role that is being given to you, expectations that are given to you are different from what you assume they may be. Or you may be given a project, after you submit the project, then your superiors, your bosses may say, no, but this is not what we expected. We expected a different output, we expected a different result, we expected you to take a different approach to it, and suddenly you find that you and your bosses are on a different tangent, different plane altogether. So be a little careful during your communication. Find out, recheck, double check expectations from the projects. In between, don't wait till the complete handover of the project. In between, also touch base to just check whether you're on the right track. This is what they're expecting, so that later on when you're submitting the project, you don't face flat. Other is, if you're expecting some growth connected to the 8th house, especially those people who are working in industries related to taxation, money, wealth management, government, or audits, or even IT or media, you may find that results don't come by to you stronger or strongly, which means that some of your projects may be held up, you may not get good results. For example, those people who are working in the media, you may find that you may not be getting that appreciation for your work, that acknowledgement for your work. Growth takes some time. For those people who are working in banks or audits, you may find that your appraisal is not great, just appraisal period has passed. The agreement that you are expecting, they are not coming back to you, coming to you that strong. So be careful on those areas. The third aspect or third area is your relationship. because the 7th lord is Saturn, but gone or is transiting to the 8th house and now going retrograde. So its attention is also on relationship. So because Rahu and Jupiter are placed in the 10th house and Ketu is in your 4th house in the sign of Libra in domestic life, don't rock the boat in your domestic life when your relationships are concerned, because then you will find that you will get lesser peace if you rock the boat over the next 5 months. So keep your patience, keep your cool, even if somebody is trying to rock the boat, bring up some issues, take it coolly. Better to avoid those challenges rather than get into a fight with people, especially at home. So keep your peace, persevere during these 5 months, because when November comes, when Saturn goes direct and Rahu and Ketu transit happen, those are going to be better times, even exciting times for you. Now for Leo ascendant natives, Saturn rules the 7th house and Saturn also rules your 6th house. And Saturn is going retrograde in a couple of weeks, mid-June, in its own Murtikona sign in Aquarius and in its very strong house, the 7th house. Mind you, remember that Saturn in the Murtikona sign of Venus, which is Libra, it gets exalted, especially in the 7th house for the Kalpurush Kundli, the Mesh Kundli or the Aries ascendant. So Saturn is usually very powerful in the 7th house. It gets the highest directional strength in the 7th house. So for Leo ascendant native in its own Murtikona sign of Aquarius, Saturn is really strong. A retrograde Saturn is even stronger because it means that it's closer to the earth than any other time. However, a retrograde Saturn also gives you unexpected results, rogue results, those results which are not the norm. So Saturn in the 7th house, in the sign of Aquarius, in the 7th house of partnerships, relationship, you may find that the results that you are expecting to come in terms of your relationship may not be as fruitful, may not be on expected lines. So some of you who are thinking of getting into a relationship, be sure that you want to get into the relationship. Double check yourself, your aspiration, your wish and desire to really get into the relationship now. If you can hold up for the next 3-4 months and then take a decision after the first week of November, especially if you are getting into a formal relationship, signing on the dotted line, so be careful or be very sure. So I don't want you to go and tell your fiance that, okay, you know what, this is not the right time. You were expected to marry in July, but now Saturn has gone retrograde, so I can't marry you. No, I'm not saying that put off your wedding plans or put off your engagement. I'm saying if you're absolutely sure, then go ahead. If there is doubt there, it's always good to wait for another 4-5 months. No harm to you, no harm to your lover or your fiance. So be careful on the relationship front and on partnerships. If you're planning to get into a partnership, if you're planning to sign up some documents or get into a business agreement with somebody, be a little careful. The reason being is Saturn also rules your 6th house of inimical forces acting behind your back. So you may find that competition later on comes to harm you, trouble you, or create issues for you. Or sudden things may flare up because of which your partnership may go south or misunderstanding may creep up. Your partner may start seeing you as inimical to him or her or to their aspirations or expectations from their partnership. So be a little careful during this period, because Saturn is also the 6th house and going retrograde. So its attention is also on the 6th house. The other is Saturn's third aspect is on Jupiter and Rahu in your 9th house. So if you are traveling or plan to travel for something related to your team, related to partnership, related to work, make your plans watertight, which means ensure that you have tickets booked and they are confirmed tickets. Sometimes in India this happens, we book train tickets which are not confirmed, you're on the waiting list or something like that. So ensure that your travel plans are secure, they are watertight, your bookings are watertight, which hotel you're going to stay, where you're going. So because you'll find that they may not go as smoothly. Sudden expenses may also come, be really careful there. This is also important till the first week of November, because that's when Saturn will go direct, but the transit of Rahu and Ketu will also happen around that time, and then that's when exciting times will come upon for Leo ascendant natives where Saturn will go direct. So till that time, buckle up your seatbelt, hold on to your horses, be patient, be persevering in partnerships, in relationships, in travel plans, in your project work, in how you handle your team members, because this is the area which will trouble you the most. Now for Virgo ascendant natives, you may find that Saturn rules both your 5th house and your 6th house. And Saturn is now going retrograde in a couple of weeks in your 6th house itself. Now Saturn rules the Aquarius sign. It's its multi-trigona sign. It's its most favorite sign. It's most comfortable in the Aquarius sign. And Saturn is also to an extent the Karaka or the significator of the Dusthanas, the 6th, 8th and the 12th houses. However, when Saturn goes retrograde, by that fashion, any planet which goes retrograde will create issues, will go rogue. However, Saturn will not give you expected results connected to the 6th house, though it is a Karaka or significator of, though it will be a little protective of that, as well as the 5th house. Now these are important houses. The 6th house is also the house of service, serving some people, including even if you are in business, even if you are running your own business, but there is some degree of service that you are giving to others. For example, if you have your own spa, you are serving others in a spa. So anything where you are serving others, like a chartered accountant, you are doing somebody's balance sheets and all, you are serving, you are on contract, be a little careful of how you handle that project, how you handle the projects that are given to you and the responsibilities that are given to you. Be very careful how you handle team members, especially who are working below you. So if your responsibility is given of some people reporting to you, or you're responsible for their work, you may find that suddenly, because of some obstacles, because of something new coming up, you may find that work is not being done to your satisfaction. So be a little careful of how you handle your team members during this period. So it's better that you are involved more. You just don't hand over and delegate work to somebody and think everything will be done, because that's what has happened so far. Over the next 5 months, the expectation that you have from your team members may not come by as well as you were getting earlier. You may also have a new team member who suddenly joins, becomes a part of your team, and you have to give more attention to the person. Otherwise, the work that you give it to the person may not come good, and later on you may have to face flack from your superiors, from your bosses. So be really careful here. Secondly, for those people who have parents, and you have children, for them you may have to give more attention to the children during this time. Don't neglect your children during these 5 months. I'm not saying anything serious is going to happen, but you may find that either you're forced to give time to your children because somebody falls sick, or something comes from school, or you have to go to the school, or something or the other comes because of it. Suddenly your attention towards your children will be required more. Or if you don't start doing now, over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you'll find suddenly something comes up, then you're forced to give attention in not so good an environment. So it's always better that you give your focus from now over the next 2 weeks. Know what your children are doing, whom they are hanging around, what they're eating, whether they are okay, they're doing good, how their studies are going. Just a quick check is not bad. So this will serve you over the next 5 months. This will give you a peace of mind. Secondly, for those people who are in the relationship, love relationship, you may find some misunderstanding, and the misunderstandings may flare up to such an extent that you see each other as enemies. And so don't get into those situations, because you will find, try as you might, situations will come up because of which you have to get into an argument, you may have to get into fights, you may have to get into disagreement. Why rock the boat? Just for 5 months. So be a little cool, be calm. It's always better to say sorry sometimes rather than increasing the heat, or just being cool and being patient. Your loved one, your opposite partner may also seek more attention, may seek more pampering, may seek more support, whatever gender they may be. So do give slightly more attention than what you've been doing earlier. Otherwise, you may face unnecessary issues there and challenges there. This is also important because Saturn's third aspect is on Jupiter. So especially for women, For Virgo ascendant people, because Jupiter is in the 8th house, Saturn is aspecting Jupiter with the 3rd aspect, while Jupiter is in close conjunction with Rahu. You may find that over the last 3-4 months, if you have not been right in your decision making, connected to your better half, connected to maybe your husband, your lover, your partner, whoever. So next 5 months can be most troubling. You may also get into a situation where your reputation may also be at stake. You may get into bad company also, where you may be abused or even misused. So be careful how you deal with romantic situations or related to the opposite gender. Sometimes you may not be involved at all, but your reputation still may be tarnished. So be careful how you handle those situations. If you are planning or thinking of getting into a relationship with somebody, then especially for women more, because Jupiter is the Tarak of husband. So be careful how you take those decisions, how you are going forward in your relationship. Be careful before those decisions are taken. It's wiser to wait and to know. If you're absolutely clear of something, then only go ahead. Otherwise, this decision could go south for you. Wait till the first week of November if you are not too sure, or in your interactions with the opposite gender, or getting into a love relationship with somebody, or formalizing a relationship, or taking the next step in your relationship, because in November first week Saturn is going to go direct, and Rahu and Ketu's transit is also will be happening around that time, and that time will be more static. A different phase of life will start for you. So just hang on till then. Now for Libra ascendant natives, Saturn rules your 4th house and your 5th house, and Saturn is going retrograde in the 5th house. But Saturn is going retrograde in the 5th house in its own Moor Trikona sign of Aquarius. So Saturn is protective of its own sign in Aquarius, its Moor Trikona sign, where it is most comfortable. However, a retrograde planet and any planet which goes retrograde turns more rogue, which means it gives you those results which you generally don't expect from that planet, and you get results to the contrary to your desires, contrary to your expectations, contrary to your aspirations. That's what Saturn is also going to do in your 5th house. Libra ascendant native sign of relations, but Saturn going into the 5th house of romantic relations and aspecting your 7th house. So for Libra people, generally relationships are important, and Saturn going retrograde in the 5th house of romance, attraction, opposite gender, and aspecting with the 3rd aspect to 7th house with the Rahu and Jupiter there. So a chance that there may be misunderstanding with your loved one, or you may get into a relationship with somebody who you have not understood well enough, especially if the relationship is in the first initial phases. So don't rush into a relationship now, especially connected to a romantic liaison, especially connected to attraction, especially because of looks rather than knowing the person really well. So if you're having a good time with somebody, okay, fair enough. However, don't take it too far, or don't get too serious about the person. With your time, in the next 5 months, Saturn will go direct in the first week of November. Why not wait till then? But if you're out to have a good time and you think you can take care of yourself, you will not get into a very serious commitment, then good for you. The other thing is Saturn also rules your 4th house of domestic life. So you may find that if you have ignored your domestic life so far, especially this is more for men, if you have ignored your better half, if you have ignored your spouse, then it is the time for you to give slightly more attention to your spouse. Please go out for a dinner with your spouse, or for a movie, or do something with your spouse to keep the house in order, because you may unnecessarily rock the boat. You may see something which may flare up in some way, and the domestic peace may be harmed. So always better to be in the good books of the spouse. The most important relationship I feel is of a spouse, especially if you're in a committed relationship, whether you're tied or not with the person or not, whether you're in your formal relationship through a marriage contract or not. That is a very important one. So be careful of how you play out your domestic life. Secondly, if you are planning to move houses, you may find that it's not easy. It may not be a smooth thing. Buying property, doing something related to property, constructing property, doing some repair work in the house may not be easy. It may consume more time. It may take up more expenses. There may be breakdown of some vehicles. There may be some breakdown of also the electronics or daily conveniences. So be a little careful of how you are attending to them. Service some of your air conditioners or your car or whatever is required before the Saturn's retrograde motion happens, because then that could make you spend more or give more time and attention to it. If you're planning to purchase any electronics, especially of higher value, or say a car, be a little careful of how you buy the car, or do your due diligence before you sign the contract, because that after you buy the car you may find something or the other keeps happening over the next 5 months. So if you're absolutely sure, then only go ahead with buying a car or buying a property and do your due diligence in terms of your paperwork, what paperwork you're signing, because till November this retrograde motion of Saturn will continue, and for you from November onwards better things are in store for you. Now for Scorpio ascendant natives, Saturn rules your 3rd house and your 4th house, and Saturn is about to go retrograde in a couple of weeks in the 4th house in the sign of Aquarius. Now Saturn's Mool Trikona sign is Aquarius. Saturn rules Aquarius, and Saturn being retrograde in the 4th house, which means in the matters of your domestic life, on the home front, there may be certain results which may not combine to you as stronger or easily as you expected. For example, if you were moving into a new home or acquiring a property, you will find that acquiring the property and moving into the new home may not be as smooth, or something which you have not addressed earlier. For example, paying property taxes or paying your society's maintenance bills, or taking care of if you have a swimming pool in the home, for example, maintaining that. Some maintenance issues may suddenly come up, because of which you have to put in extra effort. This is also because Saturn also rules your 3rd house of effort. So Saturn will make you put in more effort in the home, or if you have not done so far, then Saturn will make or force you to be more attentive at home. Either the spouse may require some more attention because maybe illness coming, or spouse needing more to put in more time at her workplace or his workplace, or children needing more support, some activities of children coming up at school, or travel plans are made. So something connected to family, domestic affairs will catch your attention, and you will have to put in more effort there. So buckle up your seat belts for the next 5 months. This is a ride which will take a lot of your attention into your domestic sphere, in your family, with your children, with your better half or your spouse. This is also important because Saturn's 3rd aspect is on Jupiter and on Ketu, and it's on Jupiter and on Rahu in the 6th house, which is also the house of inimical challenges or enemies. So unnecessarily, because of some misunderstanding, don't create enemies at home or unnecessary fights at home. So be a little careful there. This is especially more for women because Saturn is aspecting Jupiter in the 6th house. So be a little careful. And also because Saturn rules the 3rd house, which means at work or connected to work, especially those people who are in the field of sales, marketing, or there you have to influence people in a certain manner, or social media is connected. Here you may find that as much effort as you are putting in, those results may not come by to you, or the results will get stagnated or come with over a period of time. Nothing will be given to you on a platter, nothing will come easy to you. So be a little careful how you play out or how much of an effort that you put in. Some of the projects that you doing, you may need to do them, rework on them also. Communication may also be misunderstood for Scorpio ascending native. So bid your time, hold on till November 1st week when Saturn goes direct, and both Rahu and Ketu also do their transit, because those times will be slightly better for you. A new phase of life will begin for you. Now for Sagittarius ascending natives, Saturn rules the 2nd house as well as the 3rd house, and Saturn is going retrograde in a couple of weeks in the 3rd house itself, in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the Mool Trikona sign of Saturn, and Saturn is most comfortable in its Mool Trikona sign. However, a planet which goes retrograde turns rogue, which means it may give you slightly different results or slightly unexpected results, or not those results which you are desiring or aspiring for. So Saturn going retrograde in the 3rd house of effort, while also ruling the 2nd house, will also give you those results which were unexpected or undesirable. So first thing that it will do is, if you're expecting an increment connected to your work, which means Saturn will give you the fruits of your labor. Those may not come to your expectation or may be delayed by a couple of months. So for some of you, increments may be delayed by a few months, maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe even till the first week of November when Saturn goes direct. So hold on to your horses, be patient. No point of rocking the boat with your superiors at work or in your business or connected to your partners. This is also important because Saturn also rules your second house of income, livelihood, savings. So Saturn's retrograde motion also means that you may have to maybe dig into your savings for something which has suddenly come up. Travel plans which have suddenly come up, investments which have suddenly come up, taxation issues which have suddenly come up, or expenses connected to the home which have come up which you are not expecting. And now your attention has to go there. There you need to put in the money. There you need to be able to put in more effort and do something about it. So that may happen. So for the next 2 weeks, look into things. If you have avoided something, you have not completed paperwork of something, you have to submit something, or you have to take care of something which you have put off over the last 2-3 months. And if in the next 2-3 weeks also, if you don't do, then you will find that those again flare up in such a way that they require more attention, more time, more money also. So for example, if you have not paid attention to something which you need to put in or make some payments, they may come back to you with some fines being levied to you. So why get into those kind of situations? It's better to do whatever your responsibilities are before time. Saturn is the planet of responsibilities, of boundaries. If you cross the boundary of overshooting the time, overshooting your responsibilities, overshooting your authority, then to this phase, this next 5 months may come by to really trouble you, especially for Sagittarius ascendant natives, because Jupiter is also your Lagna Lord, also your 4th Lord, and it is under the 3rd aspect of Saturn while it is in conjunction with Rahu, which means domestic life may be triggered because of a misunderstanding. This is also a period where for Sagittarius ascendant natives, especially for ladies, you may find, because Jupiter is the Karaka also of husband for you, you may find that you get attracted to those people who you should be more careful about. So if you are in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, be careful whether you want to fructify or become more serious or become more emotionally attached to that person or to the relationship, or take it forward, formalizing the relationship through an engagement or through marriage. Be a little careful here because Jupiter is your 4th Lord, which is domestic life and peace of mind, but in the 5th house of romance with Rahu, the chance of being misled or misunderstanding is very, very high. This misunderstanding could also come from friends, which means because of some interaction of your loved one with your friends or their friends, some misunderstanding happens because of which your romantic relationship suffers or both is at least wrong. So be very careful on that front. Also, some matters of children, for parents, some matters of children may also require immediate attention. And so will the attention be required in your friend circle, in your extended friend circle or network, where you may suddenly have to rush, or if you have forgotten somebody's birthday, or forgotten somebody's wedding, or suddenly a spree of invites may come when you have to give your attention there. And in those circumstances, some misunderstanding may happen. One of those relations of social network or a friend may go down south, which means so be careful of how you handle both your domestic life, your love affairs, whatever relationship you are, and with friends. And for those people who are connected to those areas of work which are connected to marketing, connected to communication, social media, travel, be careful of how you are playing your how you're working with your clients, how you're submitting your projects, because those can be delayed, especially if you're in a client and vendor relationship. Those can be delayed for some more. So better before you hit the second week of June, when Saturn is going to go retrograde, try and submit your results, try and finish up your projects, try and finish up most of your responsibilities for the next 5 months, because Saturn's retrograde will give you unexpected results, different results till the first week of November, when Saturn goes direct. And Rahu and Ketu's transit also happens about the same period, and then a new phase, a new exciting time will start for you. Now for Capricorn ascendant natives, Saturn rules both the Lagna as well as the second house. And Saturn is gone into the second house a few months back in transit, but now getting into retrogression, getting into a retrograde motion in a couple of weeks by mid-June, and will remain retrograde till the first week of November. So for the next 5 months, especially related to the first house, your Lagna, remember Saturn is your Lagna Lord, your ascendant Lord, and connected to your second house results, Saturn will give you different results, unexpected results, unusual results, maybe undesirable results, or less than acceptable results to you. So firstly, those people who are working, you may find if you're expecting an increment, a higher money coming in or higher payouts coming to you, especially those people who have finished their appraisals, and if your financial year starts from April, ends in March, appraisal would have just been done, a lot of payouts may come or would have started to come. You'll find that to the extent that you are expecting, your performance bonuses may not come to you, or the expectations that increment has to come to you may not come to you. Secondly, if you are expecting some profits or some returns from your mutual funds, from some shares where investments you have made, those may not come to your expectations, especially when companies announce their at the end of the financial year their returns and how much they are paying out to their shareholders. You may find that less than expected performance may come to you. And the other thing is, because Saturn also rules the Lagna, a lot of results connected to your health. You may not get those kind of results over the next 5 months, which you should be getting normally. For example, if some of you are planning to lose weight or have been putting an effort to lose weight, so over the last 1 or 2 months, whatever progress you have seen in terms of your health regimen and you've started to see the results, over the next 5 months you may either slacken, or you may find that those kind of results are not coming to you, or you're not able to be most disciplined or as disciplined as you were over the last 2-3 months. So somewhere, in some manner, the attention to health may slacken, health may get affected, your appearance, how you look, how you are presentable to others may also get little affected, which means you may not pay attention to your health, you may not pay attention to how you look, your hair, your skin, and other and overall presentability, and that may affect your chances. For example, if you're going for a presentation to an organization, to a client, and if you're not in your best looks, in your most presentable, obviously those plans may not work out. So be a little careful during the next 5 months. Pay more attention to your health, because your health may go down south, or something may flare up where you have to get attention or seek attention or focus your attention to health more. Health regimens may also be disturbed, so put in more dedication and due diligence, especially if you're going to the gym. Ensure that you make plans and don't lose focus on your health. The second is about your reputation at work. You may do something, you may say something, especially because Saturn is going retrograde in the second house of income, while aspecting your Jupiter and Rahu in the fourth house, and in turn that energy is aspecting Ketu in the 10th house. Ketu negates the results of the house that it is placed in. So obviously, if you are not in the good books of your superiors, or your efforts are not being put in, or there is some misunderstanding, and Saturn being in the second house of increment, your amount of growth, increment, payouts may get affected. So be a little careful, be more wiser during this period, bid your time, be more patient. Then when November comes, when Saturn goes direct again, and both Rahu and Ketu go direct, and both Rahu and Ketu also transit, a different time, a more exciting time is going to be on for you from November 1st week onward. So with your time till then, be patient and persevere till then. Now for Aquarius ascendant natives, Saturn rules your 12th house and your Lagna, and Saturn is doing retrograde in the Lagna itself, in this Murtikona sign of Aquarius. Now Saturn generally in the Lagna, in its own sign, being the ascendant ruler, is more protective and more nurturing to the individual. However, any planet which goes retrograde will give you different results, not so desired results, than what to expect from them. So Saturn is no different. So Saturn's retrograde motion, which is going to be in a couple of weeks, roughly by mid-June, end of midnight of 16th or early morning of 17th, when it is going to go retrograde, that's the period till the first week of November, when Saturn's retrograde motion will impact different areas of your life. Here, Saturn is going retrograde in the Lagna itself, which means a number of areas of your life may get affected. Saturn's aspect will play a big role in how or what kind of results you get. Firstly, health is an area which may get affected, or your appearance may get affected. You may seem to be more haggard, you may seem to be more lazy, you may seem to be more lackadaisical in your work. But you will also find that 12th house effects may also come in, which means you will have to put in double the effort that you are putting in. A project may require your attention again, or redoing the project, especially where you have people working under you, or you have given responsibility to somebody else, you have delegated the work to somebody else. You will find that when you look into the work, you will find that certain things will have to be redone, which will take up a lot of your time, your attention and resources also. So some waste and excess in terms of effort may be there. Certain expenses may also come in, because of which you will have to maybe dig into your savings also. The returns that you are expecting, especially for those people who are working in foreign lands, foreign companies, multinational companies, IT companies, you may find those kind of expectations you had from your work output, you may not be able to get to your satisfaction. This is also more important because Saturn's third aspect, while in retrograde motion, is going to be on the third house of your effort, self-enterprise, but on Jupiter and Rahu there. So, because of not being clear, because of some misunderstanding, the work that you have done, the project that you have done may require some rework and may require some revisit. Because of misunderstanding also, your communication may be misunderstood by people, and you will unnecessarily maybe rake up some issues, because of which your relationships may miss out. Especially because Ketu is placed in the sign of Libra in the 9th house. So gains may get affected because of you not being able to keep up in the good books in your relations, especially connected to career, especially connected to wherever you have to put in the regular effort, especially also connected to the social media, or people who are working in the print media, or in those or you write blogs, or you're on this platform like YouTube and any other such platforms, social media platforms. You will find that because of you saying something or not doing something, the expected results may not come to you. And for Aquarius ascendant natives also, if you're planning to go abroad or put in your papers for visas, travel plans may take a hit, especially because Ketu in the 9th house and Saturn ruling the 12th house and now going retrograde in the Lagna. So some of your travel plans may not go as smoothly. Some of the returns that you are expecting, or projects that you expected to come good, especially connected to foreign clients, foreign institutes or multinational corporations, or even if you are in business connected to foreign clients, foreign consultants, those may take some time to be able to come good, or may even require rework. So be a little focused, especially if you are connected to areas which are connected to the third house, career, or your service of a business connected to them, or to foreign companies, foreign land, or to travel plans, or connected to higher learning or educational institute. That may take some time for results to come. The other is, because Jupiter and Rahu both are placed in your third house under the third aspect of Saturn, some of your decisions connected to how you are communicating your decisions may not be misunderstood. So when you're writing something, especially emails and paperwork, do look into them twice before you send that paperwork across. And it's not too long away. Saturn will go direct in the first week of November, when Rahu and Ketu's transit is also going to happen. So a different phase, a more exciting period will start for you then. So just hang on to your, hold on to your horses then, buckle up your seatbelt till then, be patient, persevere. Now for Pisces ascendant natives, Saturn rules your 11th house and your 12th house. And Saturn is going to go retrograde in a couple of weeks from now, in mid-June, and going to remain retrograde till the first week of November. However, Saturn's retrograde motion is happening in its own Mool Trikona sign of Aquarius and in the 12th house. Saturn is the Karaka of the Dusthanas, is the significator of the Dusthanas, 6th, 8th and 12th house. Especially 8th and the 12th house, Saturn's special attention as a protector, as a nurturer is. However, Saturn, when it goes retrograde, and any planet for that matter, when it goes retrograde, it gives you those results which are unexpected, unusual results, and those results which you expect from a rogue planet. So those kind of results may come by. So Saturn going retrograde in the 12th house itself. So though it is protective of expenses, of waste and excess, however, Saturn will also make you spend more money. Sudden expenses may come up which you had not planned. Sudden visits to the clinic may happen. Health checkups may happen which you had not planned. Sudden travel plans may have to be made which you had not thought of earlier. Suddenly things will have to be done. And in terms of your savings, you may have to dig in because Saturn's third aspect is on the second house of income. So if you're expecting some of your project work or the work that you're submitting, giving you a higher increment, those could be put off on the back burner or the back burner for at least for the next 5-6 months. So hold on to your horses, don't rock the boat unnecessarily, getting into some misunderstanding with superiors or your clients or your team members, because that will come back to haunt you for a long time later on. So do your due diligence, try and submit your work, your projects before the Saturn retrograde motion happens by roughly about 17th of June. It's going to happen. So try and finish off or submit your work by 15th of June and ensure that your communication is very, very clear. Any expectation that you had from your clients or from your project work, do look into the contract and ensure that whatever you have signed up, you deliver. The other thing is, if you're expecting increments coming in or money coming in or payouts happening to you or profits coming to you for some investments which you have made in some shares, you will find that they may either be delayed or they may not be on expected line. So that will also be something which you have to focus on or keep your attention on. And because Rahu and Jupiter are in the second house of income, you may get some offer which on paper may seem to be very good, but this could be also an offer which could be a little misleading. One of the reasons is because Ketu is in the 8th house, but Saturn is under the 5th aspect of Ketu. So unnecessarily signing up for something or leaving your job or taking up some new project, taking up a new client and then focusing your energy there, you will find may not be as lucrative as you thought. So do your due diligence before you take up any new offer, before you go for new investment, or before you get into a new relationship also. And be careful of your health, what you eat. Second house is also the house of nutrition, and Rahu plays there with Jupiter, the planet of expansion. So whatever Rahu results will come by, Jupiter will expand those results. So be a little careful of your diet, because you will unnecessarily, because Saturn is in the 12th house of hospitals or clinics and going retrograde, you will have to go unnecessary visits to your doctor and health may go south. So be careful of how you keep your health habits, how you keep your health regimen, what kind of diet intake you have. Focus on your projects, especially if you're working with foreign clients, foreign banks, or in those projects which require more self-work rather than in a team, or that you are held responsible for your work more than the team. Then do your due diligence and take care of those things. If you're planning to travel or go abroad, or you have projects with foreign clients, so do your due diligence, do your preparation very well. Especially if you're planning to travel, do your due diligence very well, because those may take a hit. If you're already working in foreign land, be careful over the next 5 months of how you're working with your superiors, with your management at work. And because Saturn also rules your 11th house, some misunderstanding, often fallout with a friend may also happen, even because of resources or because of money or in a partnership. So be a little careful of how you handle that situation, because that could be something because of which one relationship can go south. Especially if you're working in large organizations, some interdepartment or intra-department conflict may happen, misunderstanding may happen, which in long term affect your career, affect your remuneration, affect your livelihood also. So with your time, first week of November is all that you need to wait for over the next 5 months. Continue to work, be patient, persevere, put in your hard work, but keep your eyes and ears open, double check your work. And when November comes, when Saturn goes direct and when Rahu and Ketu transit also will happen, that's the period when a new exciting period will start for you, a new innings, a new phase will begin for you. So now friends, that we have seen how Saturn's retrograde motion in his Multikona sign in Aquarius from the mid of June till the first week of November will play out for all the 12 different rising ascendant signs. Do look into your horoscope, how Saturn is placed in your respective horoscopes, what yogas, doshas represent, what dasha, antardasha period you are going through, because all of these will have a bearing on how Saturn's retrograde will play out over the next 5 months. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me. The link is given below. Until some other time, some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off.